We're going to look at section 15.1, the present perfect. In lección 14, we learned how to form past participles from verbs. You will now learn how to form the present perfect indicative, or pretérito perfecto de indicativo, a compound tense that uses the singular masculine form of the present participle. The present perfect is used to talk about what someone has done. In Spanish, it is formed with the present tense of the auxiliary verb haber and a past participle. The present indicative of haber is has, ha, hemos, habéis, han. Por ejemplo, tú no has aumentado de peso. You haven't gained weight. Yo ya he leído esos libros. I have already read those books. So notice this tense in English uses the helping or auxiliary verb have, right? Ha asistido Juan a la clase de yoga. Has Juan attended the yoga class? Hemos conocido al entrenador. We have met the trainer. The past participle does not change in form when it is part of the present perfect tense. It only changes to form when it is used as an adjective, as we learned in chapter 14. Por ejemplo, Clara ha abierto las ventanas. Clara has opened the windows. In contrast, as an adjective, las ventanas están abiertas. You notice it has to have concordancia when it's an adjective. As because las ventanas están abiertas. As I said, when it's a verb, yo he cerrado la puerta del gimnasio, singular masculine. O la puerta del gimnasio está cerrada. Porque la puerta, ¿no? In Spanish, the present perfect indicative generally is used just as in English, to talk about what something has done or what has occurred, and it often usually refers to the recent past. He trabajado 40 horas esta semana. I have worked 40 hours this week. ¿Cuál es el último libro que has leído? What is the last book that you have read? In English, the auxiliary verb and the past participle are often separated by some words. For example, we have always lived in Bolivia, or you have never come to my office. In Spanish, however, these two elements, haber and the past participle, cannot be separated. You'll notice these words, generally speaking, go before. Like siempre hemos vivido en Bolivia. Instead of you would maybe think to say hemos siempre vivido, like you do in English. But it's not that way. Otro ejemplo, usted nunca ha venido a mi oficina. ¿Y Juan Carlos todavía no te ha invitado a salir? Últimamente hemos sufrido muchas presiones en la universidad. You'll notice at this rate that the word no or any object or reflexive pronouns are placed immediately before haber. As the conjugated verb, they always go right before. Yo no he comido la merienda. Or, ¿por qué no la has leído? Comido. ¿Por qué no la has comido? Susana ya se ha entrenado. Susana's already practiced. Or, ellos no lo han terminado. So you'll notice here as I'm speaking, there isn't a pause here. In English, you would think maybe say no he comido or se ha entrenado. But it's called a glottal stop. But in English, in Spanish, they just don't use that. No he comido, se ha entrenado, no lo han terminado, no lo has comido. It's like very fluid, rhythmic pronunciation. So also note that to have can either be a main verb or an auxiliary verb in English. As the main verb, it corresponds to the Spanish tener. For example, I have a lot of friends. Tengo muchos amigos. Well, when it's an auxiliary verb, it corresponds to haber. You can maybe think of it as a helping verb, and that begins with an H. He tenido mucho éxito. I've had a lot of success. To form the present perfect of I, which means there is, there are, so you maybe want to say there have been or there has been, use the third person singular of haber, ha, plus habido. Ha habido muchos problemas con el nuevo profesor. There have been a lot of problems with the new professor. Ha habido un accidente en la calle central. There's been an accident on Central Street.